Thank you so much for joining us today at Relaunch. It's a real pleasure having you with us today, right?
Thank you.
So we'd like to talk about your professional journey, right from the time where you started to where you have reached today. So the very first question of this interview today, how has your professional journey been so far?
The professional journey, as I look at it, has been very interesting. First of all, the entire professional journey started off as a default and not by any design or choice.
Okay.
I did my graduation in physics, and then after that I was looking at various options, and there was this course which was offering a 2-year social work program specializing in HR and IR.
Okay.
So I happened to enroll in this course, and I enjoyed every part of it during those 2 years I spent there. Primarily because it was more connecting with people, understanding their behaviors, understanding the psychology part of it, and trying to look at the elements of a human being rather than how he is and what he is. So that made me more interested in this profession. And I've been lucky after that, in sense I was the first guy from Madras, where I did erstwhile Madras, now it's called Chennai,
Right.
where we were the first guys to be picked up by Voltas, which was a
Right.
Bombay-based organization. So I happened to know Hindi at that time because of my schooling. I knew Hindi very well.
Okay.
So that's what gave me an edge over others from Chennai. And I happened to join Voltas in the year 1993. So that was the beginning of my professional life, and I started off there. And after that, I've worked with several organizations. Basically, the number of industries that I've been involved with. I've been involved with consumer durables, I've been involved with engineering, I've been involved with pharmaceutical for a very short while, steel, oil and gas, and that has been the journey. So it's been interesting.
I'm sure it definitely is.
Yeah.
So very early on in your career, did you know that you're a people's person, and did you know that HR was going to be your fate at that point of time?
No, if you look at it, after my graduation, it was by default that I got into this course. But having said that, now whatever I have taken up as a career, I started enjoying it every bit, because the people connect was very important in this entire function.
True.
And it also helped me to know people better and understand them. And I had the technical knowledge, I had the conceptual knowledge, which I could look at it from the practical point of view also. So that's how I think.
I think it's been a rewarding one. You're also a gold medalist with master degree in social work.
Correct.
Specializing in personnel management,
Yeah.
industrial relations and labor welfare from Chennai University. So being recognized for your work and being awarded, how does that make you feel?
It's very elating. I mean, in a sense, it gives you a very good feeling. You start off your career with a gold medal, and especially recognized amongst the HR students of that year. We were close to there were 4 colleges, and out of the 4 colleges, we were about 100 people, 100 odd people.
Okay.
And out of that, being recognized as the most outstanding person is very encouraging,
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
encouraging. And it was a very, it was a recognition for my overall performance, not only in terms of academics, but also in terms of my other. So it was very encouraging and very
definitely sure.
Yeah.
So I think you started your career in '93 with Voltas.
Yes.
And then you spent around 4 successful years learning at Voltas, and then you joined Jindal Steel as a manager HR for them. So any unique incident that you would like to share with us during your stint here?
See, Voltas was an organization, it was basically a Tata organization.
Right.
And the way I was looking at that to start off my career was basically, it was an organization where I had to learn. I had to look at whatever the conceptual and the knowledge that I've gained, and how is it going to be implemented in the organizations that I've worked for. So from that perspective, it was a very interesting assignment. I was involved with a lot of activities in the HR function. I was also the entire gamut of it. As a fresher, I could get into. And the most important thing is I was upbeat and I was energetic, and I got involved with all the activities. So that's how it is. And at a point of a time, there was a training center that was being developed, and I was also taking the administrative, I was also developing the entire training center and also ran it for some time. I mean,
so very good exposure in your field that you got, that you were lucky to have, and I think that's been a good foundation.
Yes, yes it is.
So you then joined Wockhardt into field operations and training and development for Field Force. So what were your challenges then? I mean, pharma sales during that time was a really different thing altogether to what it is now.
Yes.
So any particular challenges and that you had at that time that you can share?
See, the pharmaceutical business was a growing business at that time. It's growing even now. And being in a field operations kind of a role, the best thing that I did was with my experience in Voltas, I gathered that I need to be in the market with the people around so that I could understand what they're doing, so that I can customize or I can look at the HR interventions. So especially for the training part of it, I had to be on the field looking at how they work on the field and what are the various activities that they carry out. So the challenge was to quickly adapt to that and start developing programs and start developing initiatives which could really be very, very customer focused. The customer here in the sense the area sales managers and the territory managers. So being able to cater to their needs is something that being with them,
I think that brings absolute relevance to your programs.
And before every program, I used to do a field visit with one of the medical representatives, travel the way they travel, stand with them in front of the doctors, and meet up with the doctors. They go through the presentations that they make to the doctors, and what are the challenges that they face on a regular basis. That was very interesting to know. And knowing what they're going through in the field helped me do justice to what I was doing at that time. So that was what it is, yes.
Great. So then, almost after a decade of work experience, you joined Xerox as a regional HR and quality manager for West and Central region, handling HR operations, field force management, PMS, training and CNP. We would love to know about your experience here. Because Xerox is a world-class organization, and you had a stint there as well. So how was your experience with Xerox?
See, Xerox in India, it's a generic name. For photocopying, it's called Xerox.
Yeah,
that's the most unfortunate thing. And I'll tell you one incident about, we had one of the global product managers visiting India for the first time.
Right.
And in that meeting, we had gone to a field visit.
Right.
He wanted to go for a field visit. He saw everywhere the name Xerox popping up. You know, every signboard had Xerox written all over. So he was asking us, is Xerox so famous here? Then we had to tell him, no, it is a generic name and it's not. So the basic thing is that photocopying, just like Band-Aid, photocopying is got a Xerox as a very common generic name. But yeah, this is an organization which is global, which has several best practices. They were the pioneers in sales organization, how to customer sales and service, and they're quick in changing or adapting to the new conditions. That's what they were good at. So my role there was basically handling the entire HR and quality as a function. You know, quality in the sense, the quality of management processes, and not quality of the product, but quality of management processes. We were also an ethics officer for the Western region. So the biggest challenge was in terms of being able to quickly shift and adapt to new climate, new environment, which is more sales driven, which is more outward looking, and we had very many challenges to do. And in order to quickly adapt to this environment, they were going through a lot of churns. They wanted to look at bringing about synergies in the products, the product lines, the service part of it, and all those things. So HR was also a part of it. So we were.
Which clearly means HR and business were quite involved.
Absolutely, it was involved. And that's an organization which gives full credit to the HR professional and the role that he has to play. Yes, it does.
think someone...
Not for me.
Okay. You then spent your next stint was at BG Exploration
Yes.
and Production India Limited.
BG is an oil and gas exploration company.
Right.
This is an offshore field they had, which
Right.
is called Panna Mukta Tapti. When I joined them, this was at the peak, the production was at its peak. This was again an organization taken over from Enron.
Okay.
So Enron had stakes in it, which BG took over. And it was a joint venture between BG, Reliance and ONGC. So it was an operating company in the oil and gas industry, basically producing oil and gas from the offshore fields that they had. So the industry was totally different.
Different, absolutely.
Yes, it is more technical, more project oriented.
HR challenges.
Absolutely. You had a lot of migratory workforce, expatriate workforce,
Right.
and you had project offices being set up. So you had very people for a defined period of time. And continue. And in British Gas, it's again the industry was totally different. It's oil and gas. It's a very highly technical oriented organization, and the very capital intensive in terms of its project kind of stuff. So this is an industry which had challenges in terms of getting the right kind of talent to do your project, because the person who comes in to do any kind of activity in the organization adds a lot of value to the organization, and the speed with which the projects are executed matters most. So, and some of the skill sets that are required are very, very niche skill sets, and it needs a lot of experience and wisdom to be associated with the competence that they have. So it's a very different kind of an industry.
A very unique skill set to manage such unique.
Absolutely, it's very challenging also, because most of the people are not like a sales organization, Xerox. The target group is from within India. Maybe, and again, if you're looking at the target group for Bombay sales, it would be Bombay people. And if you're looking at somebody from Calcutta, it would be only the people in Calcutta, and because they know the market, they know the local language kind of stuff.
Right.
But in oil and gas industry, the kind of people are totally different. You could get people from any part of the world. You could get people from US, Australia. You could get people from Thailand, Philippines.
Right.
You could get it from any place, So that's how it is, and it's highly, it has got its own challenges. People look at organizations where they can quickly add value, and then they go back. And some of these roles that they have to play are basically, you call it rotational jobs. They work not continuously, because they work in offshore sites. So they work for 21 days, and then they're off for 21 days.
Okay,
so
yes.
then they come back again for 21 days and then work and go back.
Because of the very nature of the work.
Very nature of the work. So these kind of people, the kind of people that are required are also different, because the 21 days that they're going to spend there, they're going to be taking decisions, they're going to act on several things, which are going to be very crucial for the business.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that really gives me a very clear outlook that you had a very diversified HR experience per se,
Yes.
with different kinds of organizations, different industries. And to add to that, culturally different as well. When you moved to Dubai as the head HR of Tradeline LLC, so how difficult was it for you to make that shift from India to there?
Yeah, it's actually difficult in the sense the initial few days are crucial. What happens is from an Indian context, if you're going to the Middle East is basically it's perceived as a place where you go make money and come back.
Yeah.
So even the workforce that are there are also looking at that. So they're not looking at longevity in an organization. They're not looking at loyalties in an organization. They're not looking at all those kind of aspects. So the whole idea is to be able to get the people to work at their best for a longer duration of time. So you have a lot of administrative challenges. You have to take care of their visa. You'll have to take care of the medical. You'll have to take care of stay, accommodation, and several other things. And unlike in India, in your country you can do whatever you want to do, but when you are in Dubai, you need to be, or you need to much more cautious. You need to safeguard the country that you belong to also, in terms of not doing anything antisocial or anything that is seen as good. So the biggest challenge is to be keeping people, the project that I was involved with was basically a starting project, greenfield project.
Okay.
So this project was coming up with a steel plant again. Because of my steel experience, I was interested to do that. The whole idea was to recruit large number of people, both technical staff, the technician level and the supervisory level people, and also some engineers. So we needed to look at that. So I traveled to most of the parts of the Southeast Asian countries like India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, where we could get the large number of workforce, because this is where the steel industry was. So the biggest challenge was trying to get them there and integrate them into the new system. Everybody had diverse views, diverse ways of upbringing, they're culturally different. So getting them together and making them sit together and work together, that's the biggest challenge, yes.
Sure.
Yeah, that's where the challenges were, yes.
So the way HR work has, HR has changed dramatically over the last decade. It plays a very important role, in the business for that matter. So the question has not come in the print.
I think the page would have shifted, to see.
Okay, so anyway, so HR has changed tremendously over the last decade with systems, with processes, getting more linked to the business. So how do you think HR is going to be in the next few years? How is HR going to be perceived in the next few years?
See, what you need to look at is how the HR as a function has evolved. HR started off with being an administrator and basically the conscience keeper of laws and kind of stuff. Then there was a situation where it was hire and fire. People were recruited, and then there were union activities and several things.
The view of HR was very different.
Very
hire
different.
And fire.
Hire and fire. And I wouldn't say hire and fire, but then you had to go through that process of actually dealing with union, negotiating with them, and looking at collective bargaining process and kind of stuff. And so it was more of an administrator role, and it was basically. He told you.
We were at that how HR has.
Yeah. Okay. What we need to understand is basically HR started off as an organization, as a administrator to the organization's. Over a period of time, it has matured. When people started looking at knowledge as the basic resource, then the whole gambit of HR's function changed. It is no longer the technical aspects, it's no longer the administrative aspects of the person, but it's more of the knowledge that he's bringing to the table and what is he contributing to the organization. So the famous saying is that organization is not a structure, it is about the capabilities of people. How you resource that capability part of it is what is the most important thing. So over the last few years, you've started getting into all these aspects of handling the knowledge workers, the learning organizations have, and also looking at how do I build up competencies, how do I enrich people, and how do I make them ready for future jobs. So if you look at several of these aspects that have come into play, earlier we used to talk about training people, but now we are talking about intervention which is based on competencies, gap analysis, identifying gap analysis, and then trying to look at them. So these are some of the things that have changed. And even in recruitment, earlier we used to have a position and we used to then go into the market and see. But now the situation, like many of our professionals would have said, the spot talent and then they give him a job which can suit him. It's like you create a job for a person because of the competence that are there.
So it's become like a science.
It's more of a science. This is something in talent, even in compensation and benefits. If you look at C and B, is totally. It's not an art. It's not a. It's a mix of science, arts, commerce, the business, everything put together. So the HR person needs to be able to get into that part of the profession and start delivering. So from the clear evolution process, from the transaction, it has moved to more of a transformation kind of thing. So that's where, when you're looking at transformation of an organization, the person has to be business savvy. He needs to understand what the business is all about. He needs to understand how do you cater to this particular environment of this business. So that gives you a different perspective. So nowadays, if you look at HR professionals, they are more looking at, or the best of the HR professionals who are trying to look at organizations and trying to look at them and trying to develop them, are those people who are bringing in a lot of value. And HR is also seen as a value proposition, for the organization.
It's no more considered as a cost center, if I could.
Yes. HR is moving from the transition or the transaction part of it to a transformation process. So in the transformation, when you're looking at transformation, it is, as I said, it's not another resource that you're dealing with, because everybody talks about the resources that are there, men, money, and machines and kind of stuff. But here we are dealing with what is the organization currently doing, and what do we need to do in the future. We need to anticipate that and try and get the kind of capabilities within the organization. So the organization and HR activities are going through a huge transformation process. And you see a lot of HR people across the globe. They share information, they have a lot of forums. The HR is the only community which I've seen has many forums across the globe. You have National HRD Network in India, you have National HRD ISTD, you have other CHRM, SHRM, and so many things that you have. It's only because the kind of perception about the HR function is changing so fast, and the knowledge is also being shared at the same pace. So people are trying to get what best they can do for their organization. So the HR is also being looked at as one of the support to the business. And many debates have been there where HR managers, should they report to the business manager or they should report to some other function, is always a debate that's happening. But this is again depending on the kind of work that they're doing. Not every HR person or professional would be doing the entire gamut of transformation piece, but you need the regular day-to-day operations part of it to carry out, and you need some people to give guidance to and direction to the organization overall. So yes, there is a whole lot of transformation that's happening, and people are talking about it. But one thing is for sure, that HR professionals believe that unless and until you put the basic structure in place, which is your administrative policies, your basic facilities and all those things, no matter what you do about the higher level of the HR part, will not be good. So you need to put your basics in place and then build on it, super build on it. That's how you have to go about it.
That is in fact a very insightful statement. And you're also a highly decorated person in terms of professional accomplishments for you. So what is next in terms of a professional accomplishment for you in life?
See, I have always looked at being independent and trying to look at supporting businesses in whatever knowledge and experience I've gathered. So my next thing would be to go out to the people and reach out to people and start something of my own. But having said that, it's going to take a while before I do that. But I need to look at establishing myself more in this particular organization and in the current situation, and then try and look beyond. But yeah, my ambition is to be able to start looking at and contributing back to the community at large, and especially in terms of building young HR professionals trying to look at them, coach them, guide them,
True.
and help them become better professionals.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we wish you good luck.
Thank you.